Hello there! Voting is a much discussed and much idealized activity in the United States.
However, common knowledge of the reasons for voting is just half of what's going on.
Pro-voting campaigns are always so vague and nebulous that they completely forget to explain political will, data, and statistics.
They usually use phrases like, "let your voice be heard." The explanation is always front-focused and based on currently running candidates.
Many see elections in no way representing them, so they view it as a rigged game.
A fairy tale where politicians just pretend to listen, make promises, and fail to deliver. Disaffected voters are often ignorant of how voting affects the candidate's behavior after the election. In the last video, we discussed political will and how it works.
Even this discussion, however, has a more abstract impact on you than what impacts you as a person directly. After this video, I hope to convince you that not voting has a direct, first-hand impact on you and your community, and not doing so will hurt you in very real ways.
Politicians have a tiered system of people they care about listening to. Active voters, registered voters, and then lastly, non-voters.
They also have voters who give campaign donations, but that's another discussion.
Numbers are all they care about, or they will not keep their job no matter how much advertising they pump in.
Every candidate has a certain amount of money and influence they can spend on helping their constituents to help generate more votes. If our elected officials were able to care about everyone on ideals alone, they would spread the money out evenly.
However, in the real world, they would lose due to the limited time, resources, and political capital.
So what you do is direct those resources towards voters and causes that they care about. Politicians have data down to neighborhood precincts, which is free to everyone. They can also tap Gallup polls to find out the average ages and demographics of voters.
If you've seen a U.S. representative secure money for his or her district, you can be assured that the money is earmarked for a high turnout area.
If your street isn't plowed or potholes aren't fixed, you can probably be sure that your block is a low voter turnout area.
While there are many other internal political reasons why these could happen, quite often is because people aren't voting.
The goal of the politician is to make their voters the happiest they can doing the least they have to do just because of a limited amount of time and resources. They often roll out the red carpet for high voter areas and ignore the low voting areas.
This can result in those low turnout areas becoming less affluent because of the long-term economic impact of political neglect.
If you don't think that's ethical or fair, guess what? There are zero repercussions for them if they ignore the non-voters, as the only way they lose power is to be voted out. Your opinion doesn't matter if you don't vote.
Voting is not just about picking the current candidates. Voting also works very similar to school attendance day, when they count the attendance to see how much funding the school gets. To not show up that day ensures that your local community and in the long term you personally are hurt and ignored by your elected leaders.
Voting is the very least you can do to impact yours and others' lives and future campaigns. And hopefully I have convinced you that not voting is also a very stupid and self-harming thing to do.
As the saying goes, vote early
and vote often.
Vote in primaries if you want to change a party from within.
Vote third party or write-in if you think no candidate is good enough. But for your own and your community's sake, please vote.